Good afternoon, Tewksbury. This is Ray Berry, Chair of the Board of Health. And Jay, I'll have you introduce yourself and we can open the meeting together.
Sure, Jay Kelly, Board of Selectmen.
And on behalf of the Board of Health and Board of Selectmen, I'd like to open up this emergency hearing. It is 2:05 p.m. on Friday, March 20th, 2020. We're having a joint meeting today because there are two agenda items. The first is from the Board of Health to approve an local emergency declaration for a state of emergency for Tewksbury that the Board of Selectmen voted on this morning. Jay, anything you want to add for our information before we take a vote on that?
No, we ran through it with the Selectmen today. I actually read the declaration, the local state emergency, so I don't know if you want to read it. I think it's a page and a half, but we had no issues with it and was approved unanimously 5-0.
Okay. Yeah, let me just do a quick reading of it just for the Board of Health purpose. Even though everyone has the document, I'd rather just read it out loud. Declaration of emergency, Town of Tewksbury. Whereas the 2019 novel coronavirus COVID-19 is a highly contagious and potentially fatal respiratory disease, the prevalence of which is increasing rapidly throughout the world, inclusive of the United States and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And whereas in March 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization designated the COVID-19 outbreak a pandemic health emergency. And whereas on March 10th, 2020, the Governor of Commonwealth of Massachusetts issued a declaration of a state of emergency to respond to COVID-19. And whereas on March 13th, 2020, the President of the United States announced a national declaration of emergency. And whereas on March 15th, 2020, Governor Baker announced emergency actions to respond to the evolving COVID-19 public health emergency impacting the Commonwealth, including prohibitions on public gatherings of 25 or more people and prohibiting on-premises consumption of food or drink at bars and restaurants from March 17th, 2020 until April 6th, 2020, as well as a suspension of elementary and secondary school educational operations from March 17th, 2020 until April 6th, 2020. And whereas the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Tewksbury and its Board of Health, in consultation with the State Department of Public Health, has determined that COVID-19 presents a major disaster which poses an immediate threat to public health, safety, and general welfare of people residing both within and outside of Tewksbury. And whereas the Board of Selectmen, the Town of Tewksbury, and its Board of Health have determined that immediate public action is needed in order to prevent or minimize the spread of COVID-19 by and among the people of Tewksbury. And whereas it is critical to take additional steps to prepare for, respond to, and mitigate the spread of COVID-19 to protect the health and welfare of the people of Tewksbury. And whereas declaring a state of emergency will facilitate and expedite the use of resources to protect persons from the impacts of COVID-19, including but not limited to emergency expenditures pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 31, and limitations on operating hours and access to public buildings. And whereas the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Tewksbury and the Tewksbury Board of Health recommended that a state of emergency be declared in the Town of Tewksbury. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Tewksbury and Board of Health of the Tewksbury, Massachusetts, hereby declare that as of March 20th, 2020, a state of emergency exists in the Town of Tewksbury. This declaration of emergency shall remain in effect until further notice is given, pursuant to our judgment that the conditions leading to this declaration no longer exist. So again, the Board of Selectmen voted favorably at their 8 o'clock meeting this morning on this. So now it's up for us on the Board of Health to take a vote to approve this declaration as well.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we adopt the document as approved by the Board of Selectmen in its entirety.
Okay, so Bob, you've made the motion approved. Anyone willing to second?
I will second that.
Okay, motion's been put forth and second to approve the emergency declaration of a local state of emergency. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye as well. So there are 4 of 5 of us that were hearing aye, so the motion carries.
I'm just going to identify myself, Robert Scarano. Aye.
Okay. Maria?
Maria Zaroulis, aye.
Okay. Tony?
Dr. Anthony Bichetti, aye.
Okay. Chair Ray Barry, aye. And Charlie Rue, I don't think has called back in, so.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Hey,
Good.
Don. Hi, John.
I vote aye with the expectation that this doesn't put an undue amount of pressure
Wrong
on
vote,
Susan and her
Charlie.
staff.
Wrong vote.
Wrong vote.
This is the
Aye.
declaration, Charlie.
A
For
declaration.
emergency.
Aye.
For
I'm on top
emergency.
of the hill in Ashby. Aye.
Okay, so it's unanimous vote from the Board of Health to approve the declaration that the Board of Selectmen approved earlier this morning. Okay.
Greg, this is Richard Montori. Could the board vote to authorize you to sign it on behalf of the board?
Well, we'll have them do that now.
Robert Scarano authorizes the signature.
Making a motion.
Making
Oh,
a
do you wanna put that in
motion
the
to
motion?
authorize Ray Barry execute the document on behalf of the members of the Board of Health. Robert Scarano assenting.
Okay, all those
Do
in
we need a
favor
second?
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Maria
Aye.
Zaroulis, aye.
And just state your name too, so we have it for the record. So Maria, we hear you. Tony?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well, so it carries unanimously 5-0. Anything else, Richard, we need to take a vote on for the Board of Health related to that one item?
Richard. You're muted.
Sorry, you're good. Sorry, you're
Okay.
good. This is new for me.
Get through the phone.
For us
I didn't
all.
think it left you speechless. Okay, moving on to the second agenda item. I think in response to other towns having a, looking at where else do we have people assembling where they're not able to maintain a 6-foot distance from other people. We look at public care services as being an area where we need to step in, whereas the state has not banned that statewide yet. And other towns and municipalities have already gone ahead or are in the process of doing this. Malden has already done it. Wakefield, I understand Billerica just passed this, and North Andover is looking at doing this tonight, and I think North Reading has already done this. So we're just looking at trying to have these places where people congregate where it's hard to perform the personal service if you're maintaining that 6-foot distance.
Yeah.
So let me just read what I have written for this, and we can just have a quick open discussion. So as it's proposed, emergency order regarding personal care services, Town of Tewksbury. Whereas the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Tewksbury and the Tewksbury Board of Health declared a state of emergency in the Town of Tewksbury on March 20th, 2020. Whereas the best ways to prevent getting the 2019 novel coronavirus, COVID-19, as per the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, is to maintain a distance of 6 feet from others and to avoid coming into contact with or inhaling droplets produced when an infected person coughs or sneezes. Whereas all services offered to the public which cannot be provided at a distance of at least 6 feet are hereby discontinued. This includes, but is not limited to, hairdressers and barbers, nail salons, massage services, body art, body work, and fitness centers. Whereas this order does not include services provided by a licensed allied health care provider, such as, but not limited to, medical and dental practices, physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy, chiropractors, acupuncture, mental health providers, substance abuse counselors, or retail stores. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Tewksbury and Board of Health of Tewksbury, Massachusetts, hereby declare, pursuant to MGL Part 1, Title 16, Chapter 111, Section 104, that as of 12 a.m. on Tuesday, March 24th, 2020, this emergency order regarding personal care services shall become effective in the Town of Tewksbury. Accordingly, on this date and time, all services offered to the public that cannot be provided at a distance of at least 6 feet are discontinued, including but not limited to hairdressers and barbers, nail salons, massage services, body art, body work, fitness centers. This order shall remain in effect until further notice is given pursuant to our judgment that the conditions leading to this declaration no longer exist. So that is the article. And we're writing this hopefully as a stopgap measure because there have been letters written to DPH encouraging the governor to make this be a statewide ban, but absent of that, local towns and municipalities have been producing these letters to better protect their own local residents. And I just have a general question I'll throw out there. Bob Scarano and I were chatting about this right before the meeting, and there is no end date because I was having it dovetail with the emergency declaration for the town. For the Board of Selectmen, Richard, was there a thought in terms of how long you anticipated that the emergency state of emergency declaration would remain in effect? Would that dovetail with what the state has for a state of emergency, or were there other thoughts?
We didn't have an end date either. We'll probably dovetail with the state.
Okay.
My only thought, Robert Scarano, my only thought was if we added a review date of 14 days, it would not allow us to do anything that the state be in contravention with any from the state, but it would at least send a message that we would be looking at this thing in a couple of weeks for an update for those people affected by the order.
I'm going to take a picture of it.
If there's any thought on that.
So just so everyone knows, the declaration for this local state of emergency, it says, this declaration of emergency shall remain in effect until further notice is given pursuant to our judgment that the conditions leading to this declaration no longer exist.
So noted. Just so that we had discussed the fact that we may be able to review this and that we're going to comply with the governor's order.
So did anyone in the Board of Selectmen have any questions about this document?
I do not, it's Anne Marie.
Okay.
Yep, Brian Dick, I do not. I think it's a good measure put forth by the town, Board of Health, Board of Selectmen. Obviously, we need to step in a little bit and do some of these things that the state isn't doing yet. So I also think it should line up with what our town manager said about the end date. I don't want to review it in 14 days. I just think it should coincide with whatever our local emergency declaration is. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
I agree with Mr. Dick's comment.
Same here for Jay Kelly. I just think it's a very common sense, pretty straightforward common sense document.
Thank you, Jay.
This is Mark Prattman. I agree with my other board members. I believe this is something that we need to implement and give, common sense ability to Board of Health to implement these things.
I have a quick question. Does it apply to gyms and workout facilities? What's our status with gyms and workout facilities?
Yeah, that'd be grouped under fitness centers.
All right. And I know it's going to put a lot of pressure on some of our local business owners. A lot of people are suffering right now. There's a lot of concern. And so I would request that the town put together on their coronavirus resource page some business links, unemployment links, those kinds of things. Keep that augmented as you've been doing. It's really good to help folks that are in difficulty right now. So thank you. I think it's a well-drafted document, and I agree with my colleagues that it's appropriate for our town at this time, unfortunately.
Thank you, Jane. Any members of the Board of Health have any questions or comments on the document?
Hi, it's Maria. The only thing I have to say is that I 100% agree that this needs to happen as soon as possible, and I agree with the town manager that this needs to remain in effect until we receive more information from the state that things are improving and that it's safe for people. I don't think that we can make this decision or put a date of 14 days on it to change anything. And I recognize the hardship it's causing a lot of these business owners, but this needs to be done.
I'm right. This is Susan Sawyer. Can I make a comment?
Go right ahead.
In the governor's orders, he generally identifies who can enforce that order. Is that something, I know this is a declaration, so I'm trying to figure out where the enforcement piece comes in. Would the TPD be able to enforce as well, just like they are with the other orders with the governor?
I guess I'll let you answer that, Richard.
Yeah, I would think they can. I think we can work that out on our end.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Just didn't want to leave a piece out. Thank you.
Yep, no.
The only other comment I had with Ray and Susan was whether or not a reverse 911 call is in order to have this disseminated.
I'm not sure. Well, let us think about that internally. That doesn't reach everybody. It's only the people that sign up. We'll get it out on the website immediately. I just think the best thing to do is if we can identify the businesses that exist in town that we need to target, we'll just have to physically get them the information.
I think Robert was also thinking about customers as well, just letting the customers know.
Right.
Maybe.
So we'll use social media as much as we can.
Yes.
And Richard, what was the plan for communicating the declaration of the state of emergency? Was that where that's more of an administrative proceeding?
On the local declaration?
Yeah.
So that allows us some operational flexibility in deficit spending and procurement flexibility and purchasing and purchasing of supplies and services. It also helps us when we go for funding, any type of reimbursements, things like that.
And was there a plan to communicate that to residents or not where it's more administrative?
Okay. No, same way. As soon as this meeting's over, I'm going to get it in your hands to sign, as well as Jay needs to sign a new declaration, and we're going to get it out on the website. If we have to use Code Red, we're going to discuss it. I just have to talk to everyone, see the best way to do it.
Okay. So any further discussion on this emergency order before we take it to vote for the Board of Health?
Do we do a motion?
Yes, Mark.
Yes, no, this is something that I understand it's going to be heard. As Jane mentioned, this could affect a number of our local businesses and a share of economic development. I'm taking this very seriously. I do not want to close or shut down businesses, but the concern is all our surrounding towns are doing the same thing. Local businesses are going to be hurting, unfortunately, but we'll have to recover from that. But my fear definitely is if all the businesses in our surrounding communities are making this happen, and we don't, this is going to be, we'll have people coming from other communities all flocking towards Tewksbury to be using the gyms, the hair salons, the other things as well. So that was definitely taken into consideration while we're making this vote.
Yeah, I think we're in unprecedented times, and we're having to take unprecedented measures to ensure that we don't have a relapse of the plague that happened in 1918. So since none of us were around then, we're in uncharted territory, and I think we're all trying to take the opposite side of caution and public safety in this. Okay, any other comments?
None.
Hearing none, if someone on the Board of Health would like to make a motion to approve the emergency order as presented.
Robert Scarano will make the motion to approve the order as stated and amended.
I'll second that, Dr. Anthony Bichetti.
Okay. Motion's been put forth and second to approve the amended emergency order. On the Board of Health, if we'll have a roll call vote, just yay or nay. Mr. Scarano?
Yay.
Mr. Rulis?
Yay.
Mr. Rue?
Yay.
Yay. Aye.
Aye. Mr. Bichetti or Dr. Bichetti? Okay.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion carries unanimously, 5-0 Board of Health. I'll turn it over to you for the Board of Selectmen vote.
Okay. Ms. Stronach, roll call vote. Ms. Stronach?
Yes.
Ms. Jane Wellman?
Aye.
Mr. Mark Kratman?
Aye.
Mr. Brian Dick?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well, unanimous 5-0 on the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
Ray, Ray, I must have missed it. What is you said as amended? What's the amendment?
I forgot to add the word feet after 6 feet at the second whereas clause. So it was to maintain a distance of 6, and I just have from others. I forgot the word feet.
Okay.
Didn't notice that.
Neither did I till now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thank my members of the Board of Health for all making themselves available today for this very short notice conference call. So I appreciate your efforts, and thank you, Director, as well. I know that you and your office have been going through a much higher than normal workload this week or so, and I just want to give you folks credit for keeping positive attitude and helping residents as much as you've been able to.
Thank you, Chairman.
Same just deal from the Board of Selectmen. I mean, this is what we're supposed to do, as boards and committees during these unprecedented times, is work together for the residents, and this is a good example, so I can't thank you guys enough.
You're welcome.
God,
And Jay, thank you for and Jay, thank you for pulling the Board of Selectmen together today as well for this short notice meeting. So just shows that we do work well as two boards together.
And thanks to Mr. Dorrington as well.
Yes, thank you for the technology piece of this.
Thank you, Brian.
I'm signing off. Thanks, guys.
Motion to adjourn.
So we'll do a official adjournment of the meeting since it is a meeting. So
I got a guy in the backhoe looking at me up on the top of a mountain in Ashby. I gotta go pretty soon.
Make a
here.
motion, Charlie. Motion to
Okay.
adjourn, Charlie.
So I'll make Charlie's motion. So motion to adjourn today's meeting for the Board of Health side.
Robert Scarano, aye.
Maria?
Aye.
That's right.
Mr. Rue?
Aye.
Okay, and I think Mr. Vassetti had to drop off, so Board of Health approves adjourning today's meeting, and I'll turn it over to you, Jay, for that.
Sure. Mr. Mark Kratman?
Aye.
Ms. Jane Wellman?
Anything?
I make a motion to adjourn. We didn't move to adjourn yet. And the board
I
is-
have a motion. Do I have a second, Mr. Kratman?
I second the motion.
Okay, let's take a roll call vote. Mr. Kratman, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Mr. Wellman?
Aye.
Ms. Anne Marie Stronach?
Aye.
Mr. Brian Dick?
Aye.
I vote as well. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.